welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I was thirsty. Sorry, Rob. I was trying to get it in before the show started, but I wasn't quick enough on the draw. Sorry about that.
But you're like, no such luck.
But that water was delicious. I'm just saying.
Me too.
I know these stupid bottles, they make a little bit of noise. You can't just do it and think it's going to be quiet. Oh, well, whatever.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But things are okay.
Yeah, I'm nursing a bit of a hangover. We had such a great Super Bowl party yesterday. And everybody that came was just a really good time and had new friends and old friends. And yeah, it was fun. But I realized that when I start drinking, my friends start drinking. And luckily I don't drink very often because I think we'd all be alcoholics, because as soon as I started, everybody started. So pretty much everybody at the whole party, with the exception of my brother, drank yesterday. Which never really happens, but it was a lot of fun, and it made for a good time, and it was probably a little bit louder than it would have been, and you know, the interaction wouldn't have been as fun and as bold. Everybody was such a good time. It's just good. So my hangover is like a good thing, I guess. A little bit.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I didn't watch the game one bit.
No, not at all.
Nope, not even a play.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. So I was like, So I just sat and watched a TV show. So it was
nice. Good. It was a boring game until like the middle of the second half, and then it just started exploding. But for the most part, I'm glad I had friends there watching it. Otherwise, I would have been bored out of my mind.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't very good. So
made for a good party, though.
Yeah. I mean, a party makes for a good party.
Right? We got a couple coming up. I'm kind of excited.
Good.
Yeah.
So, we were talking before we got on here today. I watched tons of material on the YouTube always. And I also listen to like different podcasts and here and there. So I like to just kind of throw things together on things that I hear. But I heard something today that was about love at first sight. And I put those in quotation marks because they were really talking about, you know, is there love at first sight, or is there chemistry at first talk? You know, chemistry at first date, like a couple of those different things. And I think if you would have asked me a few years ago, I would have told you, yes, I believed in it. Where I think today, I probably, I hate to be that person to say I don't believe in it anymore, but I think it's definitely a much harder thing. But in the past, I've fallen for people like right out of the gate.
Right.
Yeah. Like some people, it was literally just seeing them. I was just like goo over people like, oh my goodness. And then obviously there were some that were like the very first conversation I had with somebody, I was like, oh, you get it. And you're really interesting to talk to.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go down the line of like, did you believe in it? And do you believe in it?
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight or chemistry at first talk. I mean, I think they kind of walk hand in hand.
I think I totally believe in both of those things because I know I've experienced both of those things. The definition though of love at first sight, like love is one of those things where I don't know that you really have it like right away. Like I think you have infatuation. I think there could be lust. I think there could be definite feelings of attraction, but love to me is a little bit different of a feel than that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so I have a hard time with that, but yeah, the term loosely, I totally believe it. I felt it. I've had those connections. So I do believe in it.
Yeah. There's been a few young ladies in my past that when I first laid eyes on them, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Just wow. And
I remember
yes.
being seeing a guy and being, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
Like that's immediate.
And it's wild. I mean, you're the reason for one of them. So, you know, that first day I met her, I was like over the moon. Like I couldn't stop.
Well,
Like,
how could you not? She was just the funnest, the most energetic, the most loving, the most
yeah.
carefree person I think I've ever met. She's
Yeah.
definitely up there.
And she had this charisma that was,
Oh yeah.
she was dingy,
Yeah.
but
Smart as hell,
incredibly
but
smart.
dingy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, and when we're talking smart, we're talking like smart.
Yeah.
Like what
Incredibly.
she's gone on to do is, a whole other thing. She's in the medical field now, and like,
Yeah.
and well ahead of a lot of people. You know, she's a nurse. She does very well for herself. But then, and again, like she, it was the 80s. So she had big curly hair. She was just dreamy. Like I remember seeing her and just being like, oh my goodness. Eh, and then, obviously the more time you spent with her, it's even more of this thing. So, I mean, we definitely had chemistry, I think, from night one, right? I mean, there
Yeah.
was something that definitely was there. and it's happened to me a couple of times. Like that we talked about it on last week's show. There was a girl that came in at the Good Guys where I worked, and I remember seeing her at the service window and being just like, oh, like, wow, just right in your face. I don't think it's happened a lot of times for me. But this girl, like, she fit the bill for me. She was short and cute, and her boobs were sticking up in my face, and she was just a cute, really cute girl. So for me, it was like, I was like, oh, I got to talk to, I mean, so much that I ended up, you know, going against company policy, calling her off her phone number off of an invoice and actually having her come back in just
Oh
so I could
damn.
be, I was like, I got to talk to this girl again, at least one more time. And thankfully we ended up dating. So I definitely believe and you're right. I think it's infatuation at first sight, obviously not love,
Yeah.
but it's just this, they draw themselves to you
It's a
where,
connection for sure. Immediate
yeah.
connection.
Now I will tell you that later on in life, I met someone, and when I first met them, I was married and so was she. And,
Huh.
and nothing ever happened. We were at the same event a lot. I did photography. Her daughter was there, and I talked to her over and over, and I did a lot of talking with her. And I mean, a lot. Like I would go shoot some, and then I would go and talk to her for 20 or 30 minutes. And then I would go shoot, and it was innocent. It was just like talking about things. But definitely brought me in with like being able to speak so well. And I think
Mm.
that's what infatuated me. And she was cute. Like she was a doll. And then much later on in life, we hooked up again. And again, that same thing drew me in. Like being able to talk to somebody so well,
Hmm.
like to me is a huge turn on where, you know, it's not always about looks. even though, again, she was also very pretty young lady. But being having someone really jump into my mind is what really is like such a huge turn on to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and I don't mean to say that it's like it's easy to be pretty, but if you are pretty, you know, you might not be able to hold a conversation.
That's
And
true.
that you want to see a date go sideways quick.
Have
Don't be
nothing
able
to
to.
talk about.
And mostly with me, because I'm so talkative, you know, where it would go sideways quickly. You know,
Yeah.
I ran into another friend much later in life where we dated in the past, and we had a different relationship, kind of up and down. Um, many years later, I end up seeing her again, and the conversations we had is what really just blossomed. It was like talking to a different human
Yeah.
because we had lived so much. You know, it's kind of like you know, our friend from the past. Like I had talked to her 20 years later after our relationship, and as much as she was the same, you know, dingy, really haha fun person, she had also lived.
Yeah.
So these conversations, I think, are what I would say are the really stepping stone of chemistry at first sight. Whether it's the first time you met him or the second time, right? You know, you can still find chemistry, because I've met people that I hadn't seen later on in life and had zero chemistry with them after that.
Mm-hmm.
Just been like, ooh, yeah, you are not the same human being that you were.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and I mean, from a romantic standpoint, like a lot of people I can still talk to, but ones that you were like in a very romantic relationship with at some point, and then you see them later on and you're like, oh yeah, you are not the person that I want to speak with.
Yeah.
um
I've been there too.
yeah, so what would you, when do you remember like your first like, oh my goodness moment?
Oh,
Like,
it
do
was
you
with the
remember it?
person that, oh yeah. I remember what he was wearing. I
Oh
remember the
wow.
position he sat in. I remember the cologne. I remember like the smell of fresh laundry, even like
Wow.
I
See, that's cool.
yeah, when that has happened to me, there's nothing that it's almost like the lights dim all the way around and then there's a spotlight right on that person. It's almost like I'm sucked into that light.
Right.
And yeah, it's over the years there's been a couple times where it's burnt into me, and like just saying that I could smell his cologne, I could smell it right now. Like it didn't, the
Right.
memory is so vivid it didn't go anywhere.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's it's great that you still have that kind of memory. I think I've been
Well,
hit
I
too many
don't, but
times.
only for a couple of things, and that's one of
Right.
them.
Right.
And I wish that would go away sometimes, or like,
Well, mostly
not
if
be one of
it's,
the ones that come like hit you like that.
yeah, mostly if it's one of those ones where you kind of want to forget.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I
that too.
mean?
Yeah,
Because I've
absolutely.
had, you know, and again, when I say I want to forget, I don't mean like forget. There's no one I want to ever forget. But there are people that you have to place in a new category.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. That's
and that's just for your own good,
yeah.
you know, because you can
That's just what
easily,
happens in certain situations, for sure.
well, and it's generally for your own good, so you don't keep hurting yourself.
That's
You
true.
know, I mean, I've had to do it recently, and really kind of sit back and go, hey, you know, this person has moved on.
Right.
you have to move on. I enjoy the time we had together and the things that I was able to experience with her, whether it was as a friend or not, or as more. But, uh, you know, at some point, when, when everyone is moving in a different direction, you have to step back and realize that it's time for them to be a different kind of friend or
Oh, yeah.
mate or whatever it is. And
It's not easy either if you once had some sort of a relationship with them to turn the romantic part off and just be a friend. That takes some extreme
yeah,
work and extreme composure in order to do that.
I will tell you that I think it's almost impossible to do that.
I don't know. Back in the day, I had a boyfriend for just a really short time, and I really, really liked him, and we tried to date and it didn't work out, and then we went to friends, and for me, it wasn't that hard because I didn't want to be close to him anymore, but he was still somebody that I loved and adored and wanted around and was a good friend, and I was able to do that fairly easy and just be friends.
Now, you tried to date or you had a relationship?
We dated, but it
So
was
that I can see that it might work. But I mean, if you've had and I mean a relationship.
well, we were together every day though, so it was like we had a relationship, but I think the relationship was more friends, like super good friends,
Mhm.
and less the romantic side. So with that I was able to manage that, and I still have a friendship to this day with him.
See, for me, I think once you have a serious romantic relationship, it is very, very difficult to
It's probably
just be
almost
friends.
impossible. Yeah.
It just is, because here's the thing. And once you get to a point of intimacy, um, and being naked around each other and having some kind of feeling,
Right.
it it's when one of you have it and the other doesn't, it is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to do. Because the person who has the feeling, no matter what they do, they look at that person and go, oh, I'm still turned on by them. So you have to distance yourself. It's not
Yeah.
easy. Can you be friends? Yes. But I think people, one of you are always thinking, I hope that other relationship takes a shit.
Well, I look at that with my ex that I was with for 22 years, and I I I think with I think I could confidently say that neither one of us are looking to get into a sexual relationship of any kind again, or have any sort of dating or anything in the mix. Like we ran that out for sure. But we have been able to become really good friends, and that just took emotional maturity is
Mhm.
what it did. I mean, it was not that hard. It was harder being in a situation where we both weren't happy by far. And I think that now that we're not living together, we're not sleeping together, we're not as involved in each other. Now we have a really good relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I think it can be done, obviously, but I think if there's any feeling, it's it is very, very difficult, because you just, you're seeing that person as, something more or something you want to still be more.
You know,
So I like I said, can you do it? Absolutely. I think it can be done. Um,
Yeah.
for me, it's very difficult. Most, like I said, if I like them still, once if I end, and it all matters how that relationship ends, and there's a lot of story that goes with that. But could I be friends? Yeah, I could absolutely be friends with somebody that I've had an intimate relationship and we both know that it just can't go any further. Because right? Like, yeah, we ran this course, we ran it into the ground. We
Sure.
know that both of us have no. It's I'll give it my ex-wife. If my ex-wife woke up tomorrow and was like, "Hey, I'm single," I'd be like, "Good for you."
I know a friend.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's just not it ran its course for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
Um, and I just think that I would have a problem even, getting down that road. Trust is a very hard thing where, um, you know, uh, people who break trust, it's hard to go back to them and believe them. So that one I know for a fact I would be fine with.
Yeah.
Like I could, but there's girlfriends from the past that just, you're not there anymore. I'll give you like the girl who cuts my hair I dated. Um, I love her to death,
Hmm.
but I've s- I know 110% now that whatever it was when it was happening, it was good for both of us, but we're not for each other. We have two
Hmm.
totally different systems of belief. We have different, we just have different things. And I know for a fact that there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
So like that one, I can go get my hair cut, say hi. She's engaged to be married. As soon as I saw her ring, I was like, I'm happy for you. And I can be like, great to see you. I'm there for 15 minutes and it's say la vie out the door. And I don't even think of her like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not there. So, but there's definitely people that I would do my best to not go down that road because I know that there's feelings there. So,
Absolutely.
and it's just difficult when you don't want to be friends and they do. And that's
That
all
it
they want to
is.
be.
Yeah.
You find yourself going, hey, so I think look,
But
modern dating. Uh-huh.
there's two things though.
Mhm.
The first, and let me see if I'm going to remember the second one. The first thing is if one is wanting to be in a different place than the other, that's it's going to be hard to be friends. It's going to be hard to do that. And if you had that love at first sight thing, I don't know that you could ever completely do it and be 100% that you're not going to cross the line. There's always that little
There's
whatever.
always that spark.
Yeah. So you got to be careful where you drift because
I, I agree. I think that what you're saying is 100% correct because that you might see the same spark you had before in a newer version as well, where you're like,
yeah.
oh man. And, but you're right. Once you have that uh, chemistry click, it's difficult to be like, hey, do you want to just hang out and, you know, have a drink and then, have a little food and then go away? It's like, no, I don't, because when I see you, my mind, takes us to this place we were at before,
Right.
it takes me to the, whatever, sex in the jacuzzi, whatever, whatever it is. So, you know what I mean? Like it's just a difficult thing.
I the second thing is um, I've learned through my lifetime what unconditional love is. And unconditional love to me is when if you're going to be friends with somebody after you've dated, you've got to love them enough to allow them to move on and to find something new and to be with someone different, and to, if you're their friend, you have to support it. Like, I have just my one of my best friends that's married to another one of my friends. I support their relationship. I don't cause any problems in between the two of them. When they've had problems, I counsel them to be together and to work it out, and to, not whatever you need to do to support that couple, you need to do. That's what unconditional love is. And if you love somebody and the other person's not loving you, you have to let them move on and do it. I always say do it with kindness. Like, I am releasing you with love so that you can move on and you can have a good life. And that's getting past the ego that we all have, and truly being supportive of the person that you once loved. And that for me has been truly difficult. Like, to love somebody regardless of how they feel about me, or to support somebody that maybe I wanted to stay with. They didn't want to stay with me, but now supporting that decision, or supporting that decision, and staying out of the way so that could happen. Because, if, again, unconditional love means you got to love them enough to let go and to move on and to hopefully find the life that they're looking for. That's part of unconditionally loving somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not always easy, but it doesn't have to be so difficult either. You got to love yourself to know that if somebody doesn't love you, you need to let them go.
Absolutely. And no matter how hard it is, because
it's harder to love somebody and that you can't have and not let go of. That can't happen. You can't do that to yourself.
No. And I've done it for quite a while. But
I think we've all been in a situation where we've loved
somebody can't be with.
Yeah. Somebody we shouldn't be with, can't be with.
Or you just can't. It's, like this one girl that I'm talking about, I was there during a lot of hard times in her life. She ended up meeting somebody and decided to date them. I bowed out for myself. I was like, look, that's awesome. Go date them. I think it's better that I just kind of disappear. We talked to each other via text a couple of times since then. She ended up getting married, which is awesome. Yeah. And I wish her nothing but the best of happiness. But yes, that is one of those things where you have to step back. And now that it's been a long time, like a year, I've moved on. I've met other people that, have sent me in another direction. So it was good for me that, at the end, like, she met somebody, she's happy. It changed my trajectory to meet someone else.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things where you have to just kind of go, all right, those things, like we've talked about, some things are just meant to happen. And even when you think they shouldn't, like some things I go, man, I just shouldn't have ran into this person again, or I haven't, why. It's odd that we've came to this place. You know what I mean? Because you never figure it's going to happen that way. But it's sometimes for the best, and the chemistry out of that ended up being really amazing.
Right.
You're just like, oh yeah, like this is this is a good thing, and the chemistry is very strong, and the chemistry is there. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said, really. Um, things are meant to kind of happen when you get through these love at first sights or chemistry at first talks, these things that drive us as humans, because we're all, the visually stimulating part is easy, right? It's easy to see someone who you find attractive and go, wow. Then to add that chemistry on top of it is like, then you're fucked. Because then you're like, you know what I mean? You're like, it's like a hook in mouth. You just end up like a fish on a hook. And no matter what, you're like, oh my goodness. They're just reeling you on in.
Excuse me, right?
And for me, I want to believe in that, because I just think that it's a great thing when it happens. Chemistry is...
You've had it happen, though, so how can you not believe in it?
Yeah, and it's happened, since 1989. It's happened a couple of times. So yes, it's. I just think now it's, and I'm going to use the old modern dating thing, that no one is willing to put in time past the, sometimes chemistry can be a little bit on the first time, and then it grows to the second date. And then by the, at the end of the second date, you're like, oh, like, yeah, this is something I like, and I'd like to see where this is going to go. And then you have to get to the third one or the fourth one to really understand that the chemistry is incredibly strong. I
agree.
Because I've been on within the last, 3 years, I dated several people, and like one and dones, lots of one and dones, these like internet datings. Mm-hmm. I met one woman that I ended up going on 2 dates with. She wasn't ready to be dating, I think, full time, but I thought we had decent chemistry together, and I would have kind of liked to see where that went. But she was very upfront and was like, yeah, like I don't think I really want to date right now. And I've seen and talked to her since, and she's not dating. She's just like, really? No, just not really her thing, which is awesome. But I've also met people, again, that kind of just, without sounding horrible, like tickled my pickle, right? Mm-hmm. Like, just you meet them and they're like interesting, and then they say things and they're even more interesting, and then you're like, wait a second, like, this is something that I could definitely build on. And, mm-hmm. This could have some kind of maybe foreseeable future. So, I'm just very, I don't want to say that I don't believe in it. I'm just very skeptical, right? That, and maybe that's just an age thing. Because, I would go out on a limb that my son probably, believes in chemistry at first sight. And that if you can meet somebody and you can have really good chemistry with them, you can make it work. And I believe now that with decent chemistry and someone who is willing to build with you, you can make things really work. Just getting past some of the speed bumps. I just think today, with both sides of the fence, people are so, everything's based on looks, right? When you're looking at a stupid app, there's nothing else. At least if you meet somebody in person, you can at least gauge, off of that. But I guess that's becoming like bars, young people aren't drinking anymore, they said. It's like becoming less and less. So
Hmm.
I guess if
Because
you're
they're
not,
smoking weed or eating edibles or taking mushrooms, like what?
I don't know. They're not,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm assuming maybe I mean, people are still at bars, but the last couple I've been in have been old people or
Right.
like millennials, like 35 and older. Like,
Really?
yeah, young people, at least close to me. There's a bar around the corner from me that I heard a little later at night. It kind of gets young, but it's not like you would think.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, and again, some of these things I listen to, they're saying that Gen Z are just not drinkers. I think they think it's too expensive. It's, you go out at night, you end up spending hundreds of dollars and, uh, so maybe that's just the thing is that they're just not wanting to do that part of it, which makes sense because money is tight.
Right.
But I don't know. I loved the idea of chemistry at first talk because I've had really good conversations with people, and I think that the chemistry is like sends me away with like, man, that could be really good, and that could work, and man, I have a good time with this person, and blah blah blah. So I'm just I think a little skeptical these days, and maybe that's the bigger thing. It's not that I don't believe. I'm just a tad on the skeptical side.
Hmm. Wonder
Just
why.
and maybe that's because I don't want to get hurt again. I'm just at a point where I'm like, I don't want to,
Had enough?
and it's just difficult, right? I mean, relationships are difficult, and I know that, but it's like getting hurt sucks. And and how many times do you want to continue to, put your hand on the stove? It,
Well, I think that depends on what you want out of life because if you don't take risks, you're not going to get the rewards. And especially with love, like that's a given.
yeah, I mean, you're right. It's the biggest risk you'll probably ever take
Hmm.
because, you have to be willing to get hurt.
Hmm.
It's, I will,
Any any relationship where there's love, you got to realize there's going to be an equal balance of hurt that goes with it. Like it's love love isn't coming in a perfect box where nobody's hurt and everything's perfect. Like love is one of the messiest emotions I feel like I've ever felt, and it takes you all over the place, like from good to bad and everywhere in between. So you kind of got to know that with love or with attraction or with connection, it's going to be messy. Um, it's not going to be all butterflies and roses for the duration of the relationship. It comes
right.
with a lot of shit.
Yeah, lots of speed bumps.
And
You have to,
that's every relationship, I love the hell out of my parents, but I didn't always like what they did. I had issues with that. Same thing with my ex, same thing with my boyfriend, same things with my kids, same things with my brother. It again, everything, I've said this before, everything in nature has balance, and you got to expect there's going to be good and bad. And
yeah,
that's the risk you take, but it's
it's
also the reward you take.
right. That's 100% true. You know, you have to be able to see past the line, the horizon. It's easy to look at the horizon line and go, man, everything from the horizon to me, I can see everything's good.
Yeah.
But past the horizon is the first time something happens in your relationship and you don't cave. You go, no, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like this is going to work. We shouldn't have to worry, at all. Yeah, we had this happen and we had this happen and this happen, but man, we're stronger than that. And man, our relationship's been so good. Let's not screw it up.
Well, and again, with unconditional love or with love of any dynamic, there has to be a level of forgiveness because you're not always going to be in the best mood. So you're not going to always give 100. Well, they're not going to give you 100 either. There's, everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody has strengths. And the trick is to find the unconditional part where you could put up with the things that you don't like and you could love the things that you really do and you find peace in that. And I think that like through the dating and stuff, it's hard to find peace in that because people don't know how to stick, which is normally why they're single, especially at our age. And I think that it'll happen, but I also think that rationally we try to make things like, well, I could do this with her, or I could do this with him, and yada yada yada. But if that chemistry isn't there, it's not going to be long lived. Right. It's just not meant to be. You're in the situation that you shouldn't be, and you're on the wrong street.
Right. Yeah. If there's chemistry, you should build on it.
For sure.
And
if somebody's a good person and actually loves you, like, you shouldn't turn your back on that.
100%.
I mean, 100%. You do whatever you have to do to be in the relationship, whatever, you change the dynamics of it to suit the situation. But if it's somebody that's good to you, you got to hold on to that because there's just not a lot of good people in this world right now that are even wanting to be that to a person. So when you find it, it's special and it should be cultivated.
100%. I think you're right there too. There's just so many people who aren't willing to even try to have a relationship anymore.
Yeah. Everybody's worried about being hurt or being the victim. I'm like, you know what? If somebody hurts me, I'm not a victim. That means that the person that did it is the hurt one. I just happened to be the one that it got brought out on, but it's not my fault. And I wish that people would understand that and stop taking responsibility for that because I think we have enough broken in this world. It's time to just let it be for what it is and be truthful with ourselves and not get all caught up in the illness of it all.
I mean, I think you just need to do your best to see what's going on in the best light you can, right, and do your best to
be the best light.
Yeah, further the relationship the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read one quote here before we sign off for the night.
I can't believe we're almost done with this already.
Yeah, I know, it goes quick.
Yeah.
We've been doing hour shows. It looks like we're going to end up going to an hour format at some point.
Wow.
This right here, I think, should be the quote that everyone needs to write down. Put it in your journal. Put it in your phone. Whatever. It's actually from a British TV show, and I just loved it from the beginning. This guy is they're in a little diner in the morning and they're drinking their coffee, and this one guy falls in love with every girl he ever dates and then has sex with them and then ends up somehow going on to the next thing because secretly he loves his best friend. He loves this girl but they've only been friends. They slept with each other one time and she kind of blew it off. But throughout the series, he just can't get past her. But he says something to this other guy who's going through a problem as well. And he says, finding love is all heartbreak, disappointment, and misery until it isn't. So
That's for sure.
I think that is just the quote of quotes, because he's right. Everything is misery and disappointment and all these things until it isn't, because then you find somebody who doesn't bring that. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, this is what I've been searching for. So when you find that chemistry, I think it's something that you really need to dig into and cultivate.
And not fear.
Yeah, because it's all disappointment and shit until it isn't. I mean, it's just
it's all disappointment.
No, it's all disappointment until it isn't. And then when it's not, but look, and here's the other thing too. This is the last thing I'll say, since we're right at our time. If you're in something and it's not disappointment and hurt and everything, don't self-sabotage that. Don't, I think some people who've been hurt for years and years and years, they end up finding something and then they do their best to find something broken in it because they don't believe it's real.
That's a hard one, though. That's a really 100%. Hard one.
But these are the things that we have to work on as humans and go, all this shit has been really good. Maybe I shouldn't fuck this up. Yeah. This has been great. And I'm searching for a reason to shit on it. But why am I searching for a reason to shit on it? It's good. So, people, go out there and find somebody. And if you have chemistry with them, do not let them get away. Cultivate it. And have a good time, because there's a lot of good things still out there for us older folks, and even these young people. Go out there and if you find somebody that's good for you, lasso them up and see what it is. Anything else, Tina?
No, I think you pretty much said it.
All right, I summed it up. What do you know?
Summed it up.
I summed it up. Check us out on all social medias. I've been posting a lot, and the show comes out on Wednesdays. And do us a favor, if you can, share it with the people in your neighborhood. Whatever you listen on, like Spotify and or Apple. If they have an Apple phone, you can hit the little arrow and share it and send it off to them. And if you're on Spotify, you can send it to pretty much any phone anywhere. We thank you. We're like 40 downloads away from 10,000. So that's pretty cool. And, check us out everywhere. It's an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. I'm Rob. That's Tina. And we'll see you in a week. Later.
See ya.